Welcome to Red Flag Diary, the home of untold stories, silent heartbreaks, and healing through honesty. This isn't just about love. It's about what happens when you become someone's dream, but not their reality. We met in a kind of way that makes you believe in destiny. It was a comment under a post about entrepreneurship. Something about how most people quit right before their breakthrough. Her reply was different from the usual facts and fire emojis. She wrote, "The ones who make it aren't the smartest, they're the ones who stay curious when everyone else gets comfortable." I had to know who thought like that. Then a DM. A simple "your content hits different. What's your story?" Then a late night call that started at 11 p.m. and ended at 4 a.m., where we talked about everything from childhood dreams to the fear of dying ordinary. It felt like we'd known each other in a past life. She was magnetic. She laughed at my jokes that weren't funny, like when I said I was CEO of my own unemployment. Listened like every word I said had weight, leaning into the phone like she was afraid to miss a syllable. She didn't just see me. She saw something in me that I had buried beneath years of self-doubt and failed attempts. At the time, I was broke. Not "I can't afford Starbucks" broke. Real broke. Sleeping on a mattress with no frame because I'd sold everything else to fund my last business attempt that crashed and burned. No savings, just a checking account that stayed in double digits. Just unfinished projects scattered across my laptop, worn-out sneakers with holes I tried to hide, and a head full of dreams that felt more like delusions at 3 a.m. But she said, "You're gonna be a king one day. I just know it. I'm just glad I found you early." That line held me like a promise. Like she saw gold in me I hadn't mined yet. Like she had some crystal ball that showed her my future while I was still struggling to see past next month's rent. That was the beginning of the shift. I wasn't just working for me anymore, I was working for us. For the vision she painted of who we could become together. I wanted to become the man she believed in. I'd send her screenshots of my pitch decks at 2 a.m., asking, "Does this sound like $1 million idea?" Voice notes at 3 a.m. filled with strategy and hope, my voice hoarse from excitement, "Babe, I think I cracked the code. This could be it." Photos of messy whiteboards covered in business models and energy drinks lined up like soldiers, proof that I was chasing greatness, one Red Bull at a time. She posted me on her close friends with captions like, "He's gonna change the world someday. Mark my words. When he wins, we all win. Blessed to be here for the journey." My visionary. Y'all don't see it yet, but I do. It felt real. It felt solid. Like we were co-authors of some incredible story that was just getting started. But slowly, I noticed something strange. She stopped asking how I was feeling, and only asked what I was building. Our conversations shifted from "How was your day?" to "What did you accomplish today?" She didn't sit with me during my quiet days, the ones where I questioned everything, where the weight of my dreams felt heavier than my ability to carry them. She only clapped when I had something new to announce. A meeting scheduled. A potential client. A breakthrough moment. When I was overwhelmed by the pressure I'd put on myself, she told me to grind harder. "Pressure makes diamonds, baby. You got this." When I cried after a setback, when that investor I'd been courting for months went cold, she went quiet for a beat, then said, "You're stronger than that. Kings don't cry over one no." I was no longer human. I was a mission. A project. A work in progress that she was supervising. My birthday came. I'd been grinding so hard that I barely had time to celebrate, but I wanted to do something special for us. I didn't have much, just enough for a bottle of cheap wine and a quiet night together at my place. I'd cleaned up, lit some candles, ordered her favorite Thai food. She barely smiled. Picked at her pad Thai like she was somewhere else. Said, "I thought you'd be further along by now. It's been 8 months." That sentence. It haunted me. Cut through the birthday candles and the effort I'd put into making the night special. Suddenly, I felt like I was failing some test I didn't even know I was taking. I started realizing that every "I love you" she gave me had a silent "as long as you're progressing" attached to it. Every kiss came with an invisible scoreboard. Every "I'm proud of you" felt conditional. I stopped talking about my fears. Stopped sharing my doubts about whether I was cut out for this entrepreneur life. Because her love had become a scoreboard, and I was always one goal short of winning. One night, she was on the phone with her friend Jasmine. She didn't know I was in the next room, grabbing water from the kitchen. Her phone was on speaker because she was doing her nails. "Girl, how's Mr. Future Mogul doing?" Jasmine asked with a laugh. "He's got crazy potential," she said, not missing a beat. "Like, billionaire energy. The way his mind works? Insane. I'm just trying to hold on till he levels up. It's like investing in Tesla when it was still a startup. Hold on? I wasn't her partner. I was her investment. Her long-term stock pick. Her bet on the future." That's when it all clicked. She didn't love me. She loved the man I might become. The success story she wanted to be part of. The lifestyle she saw us living in her vision of my future. I took a break from the grind. Not because I was giving up, but because I was burning out. For my sanity. For my peace. For my mental health that I'd been sacrificing on the altar of her expectations. She noticed immediately. "You used to be hungry," she said, disappointment heavy in her voice. "You used to send me updates every day. Now you're just existing." When I didn't have wins to post, she stopped commenting on my content. When I paused the hustle to figure out my next move, she paused the attention. The good morning texts got shorter. The late night calls got rarer. And when I finally got the courage to ask, "Can you just love me here, in this moment, where nothing is perfect? Where I'm still figuring it out?" She looked at me like I'd asked her to solve quantum physics. "You're not the man I believed in anymore." Then, silence. The kind of silence that feels like a door slamming. No text. No closure. No explanation. Just an unfollow, and a story post 2 days later. Her. Rooftop view. Wine glass catching the sunset. New guy in a tailored suit. Caption, "Elevate or be replaced." Sparkles. I sat in that silence for weeks. Not heartbroken, but heart awake. Like someone had pulled back the curtains on a stage I didn't know I was performing on. I didn't lose a soulmate. I lost a mirror that only reflected who I could be, not who I was. She didn't ghost me. She outgrew the version of me she created in her mind. The character she'd been dating. The potential she'd been investing in. And for a while, I blamed myself. Maybe I wasn't enough. Maybe I should have gotten there faster. Maybe if I had just hit the 6-figure mark, she would have stayed. Maybe if I'd been more disciplined, more focused, more everything. But no. She was never in love with me. She was in love with the outcome. The destination, not the journey. The highlight reel, not the behind-the-scenes struggle. So if you're watching this, wondering why they left when you stopped winning, or why their affection dried up when you hit pause on the grind, or why they could never just sit with you in your ordinary moments, let me tell you something real. Something that took me months of therapy and self-reflection to understand. If their love is tied to your success, it's not love, it's leverage. If they can't love your now, they don't deserve your next. The real ones? They'll ride with you when you're still figuring it out. They'll celebrate you when the only thing you've built is discipline and the courage to keep trying. They'll eat noodles with you before the steak, and they'll remember those noodle days with just as much fondness. And they'll say, "I'm proud of you," when your biggest win is just getting out of bed and trying again. Don't build your future to prove them wrong. Don't hustle so they regret leaving. Don't let their rejection become your motivation. Build it because you deserve it. Because your vision is sacred. Because you've always been worthy, even when the world couldn't see it yet. Even when you couldn't see it yourself. She didn't love you. She loved your potential. But potential isn't a person. It's a possibility. And you can't build a real relationship on maybes and could-bes. But now you know. And knowing is power. The power to choose better. The power to demand more. The power to never again mistake someone's investment in your future for love of your present. If this hit you deep, drop a comment. Tell us about the moment you realized their love had conditions. About the time you felt more like a project than a person. Because someone out there needs your story to feel seen. Someone needs to know they're not crazy for feeling like they were never enough as they were. And if you're done mistaking ambition for intimacy, if you're ready to stop performing for love, hit that subscribe button. Because at Red Flag Diary, we don't just tell stories. We tell the truth. And we take our power back, one revelation at a time. One story at a time. One choice to love ourselves unconditionally at a time.